Welcome back, video 3 on 5, and this time we're moving toward the next topic for the food system, and we'll talk about the problem of consumption, in particular the problem of malnutrition, the fact that we are, as we can see from this figure, some people are suffering of undernutrition. The majority of the people, in fact, unfortunately, suffer of overweight and obesity, or in fact, even more people suffer about micronutrients deficiency. You have the definition of each of them. Undernutrition is not having enough food. Overweight and obesity mean that we are consuming too much food, in fact, too many calories versus our activity that is not burning enough. And the micronutrient deficiency, which touch most of the people, means that the quality of food we're eating is not sufficient enough. It doesn't provide us the element that we need. So let's talk about that. And you have watched already a video about it, about malnutrition and the problem of malnutrition, the different type of malnutrition for your lecture prep. So I will cover that very briefly. It should be a short video. Undernutrition, as we saw, covered about 1 billion of people, more or less. It's mostly what we also call chronic hunger, the fact that you have every day you may be hungry, or food insecurity, the fact you not have access to food so easily. The good news is this is little by little decreasing in terms of the number of people suffering of chronic hunger is declining. Let's say with the number that you have right here in 1990, about 2 million, 1.9 billion people, which was 36% of the world population, was living with less than $2 a day, which is $1.90 was in fact the threshold of poverty defined by the United Nations. Meanwhile, in 2015, so 25 years after, we decreased the number by about 4, by about 3, more or less. We are about 750 million people on the planet, about 10% of the people at that time living under the same condition. Unfortunately, those who are suffering the most of undernutrition will be kids and women, also elderly. But I would say in general, the elderly do not live that all in those countries. And the majority of the countries touched by undernutrition are those with a lower economy, those who have not yet developed their economy, mostly the countries found on the African continent and in Asia, Indonesia part of the world. Why do they suffer about food insecurity? Again, because, of course, their countries are not yet developed economically, and in general, they suffer of some instability politically, economically. The African continent is one suffering the most about weather, very harsh weather condition, very dry climate, and a lot of natural disaster. Asia, or especially India, suffered of monsoon every year that sometimes can be disastrous. There is, of course, because those countries are not yet economically developed, there is a lot of corruption and inflation happening. And so all of those reasons kind of explain why those people are suffering of undernutrition, because unfortunately, they don't have the access to food. The worst one at this point, with the biggest, the most people touch on the planet, is in fact the hidden hunger, or the fact that we are eating fine. I mean, we are eating fine in terms of quantity, but we are lacking the good nutrients. See, for example, a lot of people have access to rice, just a bowl of rice, but this gives you only carbohydrates, for example. Not everyone has a chance to have a nice salad plate. That looks pretty yummy, at least to me. And this salad plate, this meal, will provide you with a lot of vitamins, iron, zinc, and carbohydrates. So it's not just about the quantity of eating, but it's also about the quality of it and how much nutrients you get into. So unfortunately, a lot of people are impacted by the fact that they're eating enough in terms of quantity, but not in terms of the quality of it. And this example shows you maybe a plate for people with less income. In our countries with a higher income, we do suffer but also hidden hunger, because we eat in terms of quantity, but we have lack of quality. And so we're In our food, which tend to be highly processed, we do not have all the micronutrients that our body needs. Beside that, one of the major issues we have, in particular in all the developed countries, but particular in the US, is the issue of overnutrition, leading to obesity or at least overweight. And the population of overweight people in the US moved from 45% of the population in the US in 1970s to about 74% around 2020. I'm speaking about overweight people. That leads to, interestingly, it's very similar problem in terms of the health as people suffering of undernutrition, meaning they usually live they have a short life and not living in good condition. They tend to be easily sick, dealing with sickness, and having kind of a poor quality of life in general. Most of the countries, as I mentioned, are usually developed countries, and we can see that the US is one of the one dealing with the biggest overnutrition issue, and also, interestingly, some part of the Middle Orient and North Africa. But we can see this issue kind of becoming generalized and taking little by little kind of over the world. You have watched for that also another lecture prep video that I asked you about the history of obesity, and I hope you have already watched it, explaining that mostly the issue of overnutrition came from after the Second World War, the fact that women started to have the chance to work and spending less time home. They were usually the one responsible to make the meal, of course, while we're starting to move towards buying meal from the stores or from the fast food and restaurant. So going for something that is more processed or manufactured food that contains a lot of things that would be better to not have, such as sweeteners. Sugar, high fructose, for example, corn syrup, are there mostly to make us eating more, to give us, it's usually we are craving for that because we are a species that didn't have the access to sugar in the past, as you know, when we were like thousands of years before. So we are easily craving for sugar. So if you place a little bit of sugar on your tongue, you want more. We add some food additive for that food to stay longer on the shelf. We, unfortunately, because of the agriculture and the use of chemicals, there are some residual of pesticides, and in general, it's producing food of very high calorie content, either sugar, carbohydrate, or fat. And you can see the change in terms of the calorie or just over 20 years, either in the hamburger, the pizza, or the muffin or cupcake. We multiplied about by 2 the amount of calories in each. Also, the size, of course, the size of serving has become bigger. The amount of calorie has doubled, as we can see, and the activity, our physical activity, it doesn't show there, but it has reduced. So with that, we're eating more, or at least we have more income, and we have less outcome. So of course, this leads to, unfortunately, some overweight issue. And over time, we have reduced the amount of meal that we're eating from home, cooked at home, to eat more and more food that are made away from home, coming from fast food, coming from outside. And since about almost 15 years now, the majority of our population eat outside instead of eating food from the home. And let me end up that video with, in fact, a little video talking about this topic of obesity. If it wants to start.
The world has expanded its waistline. Shocking new analysis claims global obesity rates are still rising, and no country has been able to beat the bulge in the last 3 decades. 2 billion people make up roughly a third of Earth's population. The number comes from a combined total of people who are obese or overweight. The University of Washington compiled the study, which took into account 1,700 independent cases from 188 countries. The university concluded, obesity has become a major global health challenge. Not only is obesity increasing, but no national success stories have been reported in the past 33 years. In the U.S., the nation holds about 13% of the statistic. That's 87 million people and more than any other country. It's worsened when you take into account China and India have a combined total of 15%. Across the pond, the UK is
13
ranked
minutos
the
ya.
fattest European country. The Middle East and North Africa had the highest percentage based on their population size. In each country, nearly 60% of men and 65% of women are heavy. Lead researcher Christopher Murray spoke to CBS News and cited a strong link between income and obesity. Essentially, as people's bank accounts expand, so do their waistlines. Researchers also say convenience has a negative effect on our health. The quote, modernization of our world has caused physical inactivity on all levels. The new study casts a shadow over recent findings in the U.S., which showed the obesity rates in young children have fallen by 43% over the past decade. We'll be paying for all those extra pounds. One estimate shows the U.S. alone spent $190 billion on obesity-related healthcare expenses in 2005. Thanks for watching. I'm Lauren Corris.
My apologies for the little Spanish in between the video. I was just responding to my family. I'm so sorry for that. Just the last slide at this point. As I mentioned, this has become that has spread over the world, and we can see that diets have become more and more global and simplified. In this graph, show you the evolution of the different diets we have in the world since 61, 85, and 2000. And so in 61, from different countries, we had different cultures, different type of food represented this kind of very large circle because we had a lot of different type of diets. But over time, there is kind of a globalization of the diet that happened, a simplification, and from different countries, people start to eat the same type of diet. So there is a reduction in the diet that go to something smaller, or at least the same type of food for everyone, leading, unfortunately, to a modus operandi that is about the same in terms of food. Everyone kind of crave for the same food and goes for the same problem at the end, which is overweight and malnutrition. We know what we should be eating. We have kind of represented here, half of it should be fruit and vegetables, then some cereals and starch, then some meat, only 17%, some dairies and some oil. But what we are producing and what we are eating is way different. Only 40% of only fruits, less than 20% for fruit and vegetables. So it's less than half of what we should be consuming. Cereals are taking twice the amount of what we should do. Meat is about the same, more or less. Oiled fat, it's double. Milk is about the same, but 16% of sugar. And we don't need sugar in our diet. So that's something that, in fact, we have to limit. Otherwise, well, we come to this problem of malnutrition that we have described before. With that, it will be the end of this video number 3. And I'm happy to see you for the next video, in which we will talk about a lot of impacts coming from our way of producing food. See you later.